So, if possible, I would like somebody to make some pictures also. It's important for me. If possible, to make some picture. Yes. So I will start with some very short bhajan, because we were thinking about 2 hours. Okay, we can do many more hours, but now it's time for Harikatha. So, but I need to charge my battery also. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami B.A. Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami B.A. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desata Om Agnati Mirantasya Gnagina Salakaya Chakshun Temina Tasmai Shugurava Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitamina Bhutale Svaya Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandaham Sri Guru Sutapalakaram Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrachitam Sahagana Raguntam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Nevalam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishkantam Scha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Tara Shmati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Deva Gaura Purnima Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Dashita Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchaka Patarobhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vasha Bhaktanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Akhanda Mangalakaram Yaptayana Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shugavan Maha. I bow down to the feet of the Guru who has shown me the feet of the Lord, who provides the whole universe of immovable and movable beings. So, today we have a celebration of appearance Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Radha and Krishna combined, who is the Lord and his potency of love in the same body. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahanya. This verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, a 16th century text, explains that Sri Krishna Chaitanya is combined form of both Radha and Krishna, where Krishna means the creator of everything, and where Radha means his creative potency, his Shakti, his power of love. So, as usually, because I am a very unqualified person, so I will get help. And I will be reading some texts and then comments on them when needed. If you are open-minded and open, and your heart is open, then this evening you will never forget, because what you are going to hear, it's impossible to become indifferent to. Either you are going to love it, and then you are going to lose yourself in the love of the Godhead, or you will think that we are crazy. And that's the point. Because the revealed scripture says, unless you get crazy about loving God, then you miss the point with your human form of life. So, in the beginning, I will read some notes, introductory notes, and then I will be reading in detail. It will take about between half and 1 hour, because I'm going to read it slowly. I'm not a native speaker of English, but I'm afraid that those who are native maybe don't read slowly enough and loudly enough. So you have to stand with my imperfection. So, to begin with, I will start with some lecture given by my spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, about what is a spiritual progress for something. Because here we are supposed to be interested in a spiritual progress, this way or another. Some to the bigger degree, some to the lesser degree. But because we are here, it means we have some interest in a spirituality. So, this will be a short few notes about what the real bhakti is. Bhakti means unconditional love for Godhead. Real bhakti, that is Raganuga bhakti. This Raganuga bhakti, we have to come after surpassing the vaidhi bhakti, meaning regulative process of observing some rules and regulations in spiritual life. In the material world, if we do not try to make further progress in devotional service, if we are simply sticking to the shastric, meaning scriptural, regulation process, and do not try to go beyond that, the shastric process is kanishta adhikara, lowest stage of devotional service. Meaning, if you are only interested in following what it stands in the book, then this is on the lowest platform of spiritual life. This is, of course, kind of spirituality, but like everything, there are stages. So this is the just following what the scripture says is the lowest stage. This is nice beginning, but one has to go above this. If I become satisfied only with these regulative principles of worshipping, but if I have no other idea, then sa bhakta prakritaha smritaha. Prakrita means on the material platform. So, any devotee, meaning worshipper, can fall down if he remains prakrita bhakta. So, if he remains on this lowest stage of devotion, so even if you are bhaktas, even if you are initiated devotees, we can fall down back to the material platform. So he has to rise himself above this in the madhyama adhikari, meaning intermediate state. Therefore, if we do not associate with the advanced devotees, uttama adhikari, uttama means the highest, if we simply want to remain in the lowest stage of devotional service, then we are not making progress. Then we shall simply enjoy the material world field without entering into the spiritual platform. Srila Prabhupada, lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam, 1-33, Vrindavan, November 12, 1972. Then you have some quotes, beautiful quotes. Bhakti yoga, bhakti yoga dhana, bhakti e Krishna nama, smarana krandana. Devotional service. Devotional service is the greatest treasure. Devotional service means crying while remembering Krishna's names. Chaitanya Bhagavata 24:72. Chaitanya Bhagavata is one of the biographies of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, written by Vrindavan Das Thakur, one of the disciples of Nityananda Prabhu. Very authoritative scripture. So, and why this verse seated here? So, my Param Guru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura make a comment on this verse. And he comments like this. The first Bhakti in the phrase Bhakti Yoga was written to indicate Sambandha, meaning relationship with God. You see, the Swedish word Sambandha is the same as the Sanskrit word Sambandha, meaning the same, meaning relationship, to be related with something. Interesting. The second Bhakti in this phrase was written to indicate Abhideya, meaning activities in that relationship. So there is some relationship with the God. So Abhideya means some activities that are going on in that relationship. So this relationship is not dead, it's living thing. The third Bhakti was written to indicate Prayojana. Prayojana meaning goal of life. Devotional service manifests in a heart that has been melted by hearing, chanting, and remembering. If one's heart is hardened by false arguments or filled with the desire to control, then the propensity for service does not appear. Non-devotional activities manifest perversions in the soul's constitutional characteristics. So, that's the comment of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati on what Bhakti Yoga is for something. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared 1486 in Navadvip, West Bengal, meaning 28 years ago. This will be tomorrow, but we are gathering today because we are coming from different walks of life and we are working and we are living in Europe, not in Bengal, so therefore it's very easy for us to meet today. So what were the reason for Lord Chaitanya's appearance? So I will make some quotations here. Generally, there are two reasons. One external and one internal. One exoteric, one esoteric. One, to help conditioned souls by showing them how to practice spiritual life, and one internal reason, how to develop pure love for God. So, in the book I'm going to read from today, it's written like that. The first reason, it was logical reason, called dialectic of rasa. This means that Krishna is both rasa, meaning love, and rasika, meaning the one who is tasting this love. And he is both Radha and Krishna. So, two personalities in one body. There's one point. The second point is the duality of Radha and Krishna implies the duality of ashraya, meaning the lover, one who loves, and the vishaya, meaning the object of love. Radha is ideal of ashraya or love, and Krishna is ideal of vishaya, meaning the one who is object of that love. The second reason was esoteric reason, which is built on three desires of Krishna. The first desire is the desire to know by experience the nature and sweetness of Radha's love for himself. So that is first internal reason. The second reason is the desire to know by experience the nature of his own madhurya, madhurya means sweetness, as experienced by Radha. Therefore, he appears as Mahaprabhu with a golden complexion, with color of Radha's body. And the third desire is desire to know by experience the kind of happiness Radha feels while enjoying his madhurya, this sweetness. So I want to say something about in all those three desires, the word by experience. This is very important. Nothing here is just by telling. You have to experience. This is very important indication that the Bhakti Yoga has to do with own experience. And Mahaprabhu himself has shown this very clearly. So, one of his disciples, he said also, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pralayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namna Gaura Purnima. Meaning, this called complexion Lord Chaitanya is the most magnanimous incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna himself, because he gives Krishna Prema, meaning love of God, to everyone without any consideration of race, color of skin, creed, or caste. And then Sri Krishna himself came down on earth in the form of Sri Chaitanya with the sole purpose, as far as we are concerned, of preaching Raganuga bhakti. Raganuga means spontaneous. By precept as well as by example, giving teachings and showing the practical use of these teachings. How we should apply this teaching. This by itself explains the supreme importance of Raganuga Bhakti. Sri Chaitanya defines Raganuga Bhakti as Bhakti which is governed by raga, or love, as against vaidhi Bhakti, which is governed by love, or rules and regulations of the sastras, meaning Holy Scriptures. So, that means Bhakti can be practiced both ways. But love is always higher than love. And when we will be reading the text, it will become very clear for everybody. And then, there is also a goal of this Raganuga or spontaneous bhakti. And Sri Chaitanya himself describes this end of Raganuga bhakti as the realization, meaning personal experience. Consciousness about, to be conscious about. Of the blissful state of complete union between Radha and Krishna, in which neither of them exists as the subject or the object of experience. So there is no difference between them. What exists is only the unique state of blissful union, which experiences itself. This is quite a complicated statement, and it will become clear when we will elevate ourselves to a certain state. So, this was just introduction. Now I will read the text written by a very qualified acharya on the subject. Acharya means a spiritual teacher. So,
we are spiritual beings experience the human life.
Yes. So after I read this, so there will be time for questions. This is my way to show my love to my spiritual master and to the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just to read today about what is the real thing. So we will begin again with the reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya, because I just pointed out some points, but now it will be developed in a kind of logical reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya. First, the logical reason, the dialectic of rasa. The advent of Sri Chaitanya is not simply a historical event in the phenomenal world. It is the culmination of a transcendental dialectic. The dialectic is inherent in the very nature of Parabrahma, or Supreme Being. The Taittiriya Upanishad describes Parabrahma as Rasa Vaisa. Taittiriya Ananda Valli 7. Rasa is concentrated Ananda, or bliss. Ananda, in its concentrated form, assumes a figure. The figure is the figure of Sri Krishna. Ananda Brahma is the formless expansive glow of Parabrahma. Just as moonlight is the formless expansive glow of moon in Ananda Brahma. Rasa, or love, is dormant, still and motionless. It is not rasa in the real sense. In Rasa Brahma or Sri Krishna, rasa is dynamic, restless, effulgent, ever-flowing, and ever-growing. It is astonishingly new and relishing, passing every moment beyond itself to new levels of rasa consciousness, love consciousness. Krishna is both rasa and rasika, meaning he is both the love and one who tastes the love. As rasa, he is the highest thing to be relished. As rasika, he is the greatest enjoyer of rasa. Rasa is dynamic because it is the essence of love, of prema. Love is never satisfied with itself. The more the love, the more the longing for love. The dynamism of love makes Krishna Lila Maya, which means that he desires to reveal more and more in beatific pastimes of love. But this is not possible if Krishna remains the Supreme Being, who is one without a second, Advaya, or the lone Rasika, who enjoys his own rasa. Therefore, the unity of rasa and rasika in him bursts forth and blooms into the duality of Krishna and Radha. Krishna is personalized rasa. Radha is personalized bhava, or pure and selfless love, prema, at its highest. Loving communion between the two generates higher and higher dimensions of rasa. There is never end for this. It goes ever, forever. The development of unity into duality, however, is not a process in time. So, in the West here, we are inclined to think in time. We move ourselves from A to B, from B to C, from C to D, and so on. But in the world of feelings, this is not so. It is a logical development, a development that is indicative of a necessary and integral relationship between rasa and bhava, between love and between feeling. There is no rasa without bhava. There is no love without feeling. Krishna as rasa is always qualified by bhava, meaning the feelings are describing him. By having feelings, he can love, and he can experience the love also. Bhava or prema is the essence, saravritti, of the Hladini Shakti, or the bliss potency of Krishna. So Krishna has many different energies, many different potencies. So this Hladini Shakti, this power of love, is one of his potencies, the highest one. Hladini Shakti resides in Krishna in an abstract form and is responsible for his Svarupananda, or the bliss that is integral to his self. It also assumes a form and resides outside in the shape of Radha, to make him realize yet higher dimensions of bliss. Krishna enjoys the bliss caused by her prema 1,000 times more than the bliss natural to his self. So here is the explained why the absolute, the one, becomes many, becomes two. Just to be able to taste this love in an unlimited way. The duality of Radha and Krishna implies the duality of Ashraya, lover, and Vishaya, the object of love. Radha is the ideal Ashraya, or lover, and Krishna, the ideal Vishaya, or the sweetest object of love. So Vishaya is the sweetest object of love. The sweetness or Madhurya of Krishna cannot be realized except through the eyes of love. So, doesn't matter how much books you will read, if you are not able to love, then you will never come to know what it is about. This we should remember very well, because we are trained in the Western world to judge everything just by logical explanation. And if something is lacking in a logic, then we are inclined to cast it away as a worthless thing. But in Chaitanya's teaching, it's quite different. You cannot understand love without experiencing it. Since Radha's love is the highest, because she is love personified, therefore it's the highest. Krishna, in the sweetest form, is realized by Radha. And Madhurya of Krishna, but both the love of Radha and the Madhurya, meaning sweetness, of Krishna, are ever growing, never ending, just expanding all the time. It should not expand really, but it does anyway. And this is it comes to existence in a way which we call philosophically achintya, meaning you cannot comprehend this with your mind. The intensity of the love of Radha sublimates the Madhurya of Krishna, and the Madhurya of Krishna sublimates the love of Radha. So they are interdependent of each other. There is, as it were, a race between the two. The race continues until both love and Madhurya reach the highest stage. At this stage, the highest type of bliss is experienced. The bliss is so sweet and intense that it obliterates the subject-object relationship. Both Ashraya and Vishaya lose consciousness of themselves. Only the bliss consciousness remains. The bliss is samvedya, that is, it experiences itself. So, there are some Sanskrit words here, but we don't need to concentrate on them. They are explained also. So, Rupa Goswami is our foremost acharya, is our most important source of authority, because Lord Chaitanya himself made him his successor of the science of rasa. So, Rupa Goswami says that in this state, love melts the minds of Radha and Krishna to such an extent that they virtually become one, and perception of difference is not possible. They lose the feeling of that they are different. This state of love relationship between Radha and Krishna is called Prema Vilasa Vivarta. It is from the standpoint of this ecstatic state of Radha and Krishna that the ultimate reality, Parabrahma, is called rasa. So this state is ecstatic. Meaning, as we said before, out of reason, out of logic, kind of crazy. This union in love between Radha and Krishna, however, does not imply a monistic union, as does the Advaitic conception of formless Brahma or the Neoplatonic concept of God, as an experience in which the loss of individuality of the devotee is complete and irrevocable. So, this is not kind of monistic union, and will be explained. So, Advaitic means Advaita Vedanta is one of the school of Indian philosophy, which simply saying means that everything is one. We are also God. We just forget that we are God. So by some practice of meditation, we will be able to understand that we are God also one day. So many people like this idea very, very much because it's exactly what they are dreaming about. So when Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda came to the USA, 1894 for World Congress for Congress of World Religion, and he presented this philosophy to the English-speaking world. Everybody was wow. So now it's very clear. I'm just a god. I just don't realize this. So it became quite popular for a time. And the Theosophic Society directly grown up in the Europe and even in the India and things like that. So this way of thinking was very popular in the first half of 20th century between this Congress and up to Second World War. So nobody knew in the Western world really about such a thing as personal worship of God. So everything that was connected to India, we were thinking that everybody in India is thinking that they are God. But we know it wasn't so. It is, as Jiva Goswami explains, Jiva Goswami is our senior most and most important acharya on the field of philosophy. He was given the task of explaining the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the next generations, because he was quite educated person and he's a founder of our philosophy. So he went through all the Vedic scriptures and found the grounds in the Vedas that could justify the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because on the ground of Indian philosophy is like that. The Vedas, Vedic scriptures, are understood as eternal and perfect. Whatever stands there, you have to accept. So, therefore, if you want to make a career in India, then you are duty bound to show that your teachings are in agreement with the teachings of the Vedas. If it's not so, then you are not treated in a serious way. So, Jiva Goswami was given the task of compilating the whole philosophy. It is, as Jiva Goswami explains, like the union between fire and a piece of iron. A piece of iron, when put for a long time in fire, becomes red hot like fire. Every part of it is animated by fire and acquires the characteristics of fire. Still, iron remains iron and fire remains fire. Similarly, both Krishna and Radha retain their identity. They are so absorbed in each other's love and lost in each other's thought that there is hardly any room in their hearts for the thought of themselves or anything else. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the personalized form of this union. The dialectic that leads to the emergence of Sri Chaitanya is obvious. In Hegelian terminology, it may be experienced too. So, author of this book was a very prominent professor of philosophy. So, he explains in his works also for the readers on the ground of European philosophy. And in many cases, Hegel is the authority. So it's very good to connect to him. The Rasa Brahma, or Krishna, as the unity of Rasa and Rasika, is the thesis. Okay? The unity veers round to its opposite, the duality of Krishna and Radha, as a necessary consequence of the dynamics inherent in it. This unity is negated by duality, but duality or difference is repugnant to the essential unity of Radha and Krishna. Therefore, both unity and difference are necessarily transcended and reconciled in a higher synthesis, which is neither unity nor difference, but an inconceivable unity in difference. This is Sri Chaitanya. So, Sri Chaitanya is the synthesis. It was thesis, now we have synthesis. This is the logical process, which automatically leads to the emergence of Sri Krishna as Sri Chaitanya. The process is accelerated by Krishna's desire to unite with Radha in order to taste the highest rasa. She enjoys. The logical process is the philosophical tattvika aspect of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya. Krishna's craving for the rasa enjoyed by Radha, which leads to his union with her, is the lila, meaning play, aspect. Philosophy, siddhanta, and lila, meaning pastime, go here together. Siddhanta is the structural background on which lila, pastime, is based. Siddhanta is dry, but for that reason it cannot be neglected. Krishnadas Kaviraj is the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is authorized biography of Sri Chaitanya's life, says that we should not be indifferent towards Siddhanta because it strengthens our faith. And our faith is the most important thing in the process. Without faith, we cannot go far, we cannot progress in bhakti. But Siddhanta should not be mixed with Lila, meaning philosophy should not be mixed with pastime, with play, because it undermines the madhurya, sweetness of the lila, of pastime. Very important. For instance, now is the example given. For instance, according to Siddhanta, Krishna is the Supreme Lord. But in Vraja Lila, Vrindavan, neither Krishna nor his parents and playmates are aware of his divinity. Everybody thinks he is equal to them. He is just another boy living there. Nobody thinks he is aware that he is a god, and they treat him accordingly. If they were, many sweet lilas would not be possible. Nanda Baba would not allow Krishna to bring his padukas, shoes, over his head, and Sridhama, Sudama, etc. would not allow him to carry them on his shoulders or eat their mands. Because if they were conscious that he is God, that they wouldn't dare to do this. They will be panic-stricken. Simple. Oh my God, the highest Lord. I cannot do that. Siddhanta is merely for understanding. Very important words now. Siddhanta, as a philosophy, is merely for understanding. Lila is for smarana, meaning meditation, and the enjoyment of rasa. That's the difference. So many devotees are not aware of this, and they are blending this. They think that Siddhanta, philosophy, and Lila, the divine game, can be blended. And they do this. They blend, and therefore they cannot make a real progress. Either they become a dry sentimentalist, or they become fanatics, because they will be blinded by pastime. We shall therefore now leave our understanding to gaze on the pastoral land of Siddhanta philosophy and proceed to celestial Raja, the sweet land of Lila, to enjoy its sweetness. So, this was the explanation of logical reason for appearance of Lord Chaitanya. Now, it will be explained the esoteric reason in the form of those three desires of Krishna. You follow? We can continue? Interesting? Yeah. Sri Krishna Das Kaviraj describes the threefold aspect of Krishna's desire to taste the highest dimension of rasa enjoyed by Radha in the following manner. First, the desire to know by experience the nature and sweetness of Radha's love for himself. This is the first lesson. He doesn't know how is nature and sweetness of Radha's love for himself. He has no imagination because it's bigger than him in some way that we cannot comprehend. Second, the desire to know by experience the nature of his own madhurya, sweetness, as experienced by Radha. So, not becoming Radha, it wouldn't be possible. 3. The desire to know by experience the kind of happiness Radha feels while enjoying his madhurya. So, there are the reasons, inner reasons, why he assumed the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because in that form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is both Radha and Krishna. But as Chaitanya Charitamrita shows us, he is more Radha than Krishna in that incarnation. But it's the higher truth that can be understood in time. First desire now is explained. Krishna says, I am the ultimate reality, the supreme being, perfect in all respects, and the custodian of all rasa. Nay, rasa itself in all its perfection. There is no limit to the bliss eternally enjoyed by me. I am therefore always self-contented and self-satisfied. There is nothing to disturb my poise, but I do not know what is there in Radha's love that makes me restless, and on account of which she makes me dance as she pleases. My heart yearns to have a taste of her love. Wow, Krishna's thinking like that. Shri Krishna is the supreme controller of the universe. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, the infinite Brahmandas and the sun, moon and stars all dance at his will. Yet, Radha's prema so maddens him that he dances at her will and cannot for even a moment remain without her. He sits for hours together on her way to the Yamuna river or on its bank, so that he may be blessed with her darshana, meaning with her audience, that he can perceive her. If she is angry with him, he goes to the extent of placing his head over her feet to mollify her, or praying with folded hands to her sakhis, meaning friends, girlfriends, or manjaris, to help him win her favor. All this, what is said here, the author is giving footnotes, references in different texts, mainly in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Therefore, it's said that as a devotees, we should start with reading Bhagavad Gita, which gives us the foundation of our philosophy. Then we should proceed to read Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes Krishna in all possible situations. And then we should proceed to Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is authorized biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Radha Krishna combined. And then when we have read all this, then we can proceed to more esoteric readings that explain some subtleties of Radha Krishna and Chaitanya's personalities. That's the process. Radha's love is so powerful that even the omnipotence and Aishvarya means magnificence, of Krishna fades into insignificance before her, and he is compelled to cringe and cower before her. This is beautifully exemplified by a game of hide and seek. Krishna and Radha play hide and seek game. He was once playing with Radha and the gopis, the milkmaids of the Vraja, who were girlfriends of Radharani. He found it difficult to hide himself because of the sweet smell of his body. You know, Krishna, the god, is smelling very nicely, and the smell is felt by everywhere, body and everywhere, which easily drew them to the place of hiding. He thought of using his Aishvarya, magnificency or power, to dodge them. He assumed the form of the four-armed Vishnu, so God, and sat quiet and complacent, thinking that they would not be able to recognize him. The gopis, who saw him in course of their search, thought that he was Vishnu, not Krishna. They bowed down to him in reverence and passed away. But when Radha came there, it became impossible for him to retain his four-armed Vishnu form. In spite of all his efforts, it disappeared and left him exposed in his two-armed form as Krishna. It is not unnatural. Therefore, for Krishna, as the supreme enjoyer of rasa, to crave for the taste of the love of Radha, which is so powerful, so maddening. But Radha is after all the Hladini Shakti. Shakti means energy. Of Sri Krishna, who is the reservoir of all kinds of rasa. It is not surprising that Krishna should crave for the rasa in Radha's love. It is not. This may be explained by means of an anecdote. Now, the anecdote will be given to describe. The mountain of ice once said to the stream of water, of which it was the source, "My good stream, give me water to drink, I am thirsty." The stream replied, "Sire, you are yourself the source of my water. Why jest with me by asking me for water?" The mountain said, "Look, I am not jesting. My water is frozen on account of the cold of the height on which I live. Your water is liquid on account of the heat of the plains. When I see your water flowing and its waves dancing with joy, it awakens my thirst. Similarly, the heat of separation in the heart of the devotee makes his Krishna prema more enjoyable." Krishna prema means love for Krishna. To Krishna, then the prema residing in his heart, as his Shakti, which is comparatively cold and still. It was first desire. Second desire. Krishna is sweet, Madhurya. Beyond limit, no limit to his sweetness. His sweetness, Madhurya personified. His sweetness manifests itself prominently in his beautiful form, Rupa, his pastimes, Lila, his flute, Venu, and his Prema, meaning his love. Each of these is perfect and wonderful, and is manifested in that form only in Krishna and no other incarnation. There are different incarnations of God. One of them is Krishna. So only in Krishna all those qualities can be found. One peculiarity of Krishna's sweetness, which makes it even more wonderful, is that although it's perfect in all respects, and there is no possibility of its increasing further, yet it increases. Every moment. Every moment Krishna is more charming and beautiful than before. Every moment he is new. That's the beauty of Krishna. Never the same, always different, always new, always fresh. Krishna's sweetness charms not only the gods and goddesses, but even himself. So he will be intoxicated by his own sweetness. That's the thing. Wow.
Madana Mohan.
Yeah. Krishna's sweetness charms not only the gods and goddesses, but himself. Because he is eternally new, he cannot sometimes recognize himself. Wow. Once he happened to see his reflection in a pillar studded with gems. He stood aghast, looking at it for some time and thinking, who is this person? So charming and beautiful. I never saw such beauty before. I never even heard or imagined anything like it. As he bent his head to have a closer look at it, he saw that person doing the same. Oh, this is my own reflection, he said. I never knew that I was so beautiful. Oh, how much I wish I could enjoy myself, hug and kiss myself. But how can I? I cannot hug my reflection. In order to enjoy myself, I have to be the other than myself. I am the Vishaya, or the object of enjoyment, not the Ashraya, or the person who enjoys. I must become Ashraya, or the person who enjoys. If I want, I must become Ashraya if I want to enjoy myself, not the ordinary Ashraya, such as any devotees, but the supreme, the highest Ashraya. The Ashraya of all Ashrayas, that is Radharani herself. For though each devotee enjoys my sweetness, he enjoys it only in the measure that corresponds to his prema. Also, accordingly to our love of God, we are enjoying this. Big prema, big love, big enjoyment. Little prema, little enjoyment. No love for God, no enjoyment. Something like that. My sweetness can be enjoyed only through the eyes of prema. The higher the prema, the higher the enjoyment. Radharani's prema is the highest and the most perfect. Therefore, she alone enjoys my sweetness wholly and enjoys it eternally. We have said that Krishna's sweetness is limitless and ever-growing. Is there not a contradiction involved in Krishna's sweetness being limitless and ever-growing, and Radha enjoying it wholly and eternally? Cannot the contradiction be resolved? It can be resolved. The solution lies in the nature of Krishna's sweetness and Radha's prema, and the nature of relationship between the two. Sweetness of Krishna is relative to the prema of the devotee, meaning proportional. It's not something that exists wholly by itself. Just as sweetness of sugar is neither in the sugar nor in the tongue, but in the union of the two. The sweetness of Krishna lies in the perception of Krishna by the devotee. It is only in the mirror of the heart of the devotee, purified by prema, that the sweetness of Krishna is reflected. The more the heart is purified by prema, the sweeter is the reflection. To a man whose heart is impure, Krishna does not appear to be so sweet. Just as to the tongue of a man suffering from jaundice, sugar does not taste sweet. Radha's prema is the highest and in every respect perfect. Therefore, the mirror of her heart is the cleanest, and the reflection of Krishna's sweetness in her heart is perfect. But though Radha's prema is perfect in all respects and infinite, vibhu, and there is no possibility of its increasing further, yet it increases every moment. Thus is wonderful and inconceivable, yet it is true. We have already said that love by its very nature is dissatisfied with itself. The more the love, the greater the dissatisfaction, and the greater and the more passionate the longing for love. Radha's love is infinite. Therefore, her longing, utkantha, for love is also infinite and ceaseless. It is the infinite and ceaseless longing for love that makes it grow ceaselessly. Since Radha's love, though perfect in all respects, grows ever and ever more, the mirror of her heart, though perfectly clean, grows ever and ever more in cleanliness, and the reflection of Krishna's beauty in it, though perfectly sweet, grows ever and ever more in sweetness. Krishna's sweetness is conditioned by Radha's love. Krishna's sweetness is perfect because Radha's love is perfect. Radha's love is perfect, yet ever growing. Therefore, Krishna's sweetness is perfect, yet ever growing. Both are perfect and both are ever growing. Therefore, there is no contradiction involved in Radha enjoying the sweetness of Krishna wholly and eternally. It is therefore natural that Krishna should yearn to enjoy his sweetness wholly and eternally as Radha does. This is possible only if somehow he becomes Radha and loves himself as Radha does. The third desire, the last one. We are coming to the end of it. Shri Krishna knows that his sweetness as ever experienced by Radha is unparalleled. Therefore, he desires to enjoy his sweetness as experienced by Radha. He also knows that the rasa Radha experiences simultaneously with the enjoyment of his sweetness is unequaled. Although he is himself the embodiment of rasa, the rasa experienced by him fades into insignificance before the rasa enjoyed by Radha. How is that Radha's rasa is superior to even that of Sri Krishna? One reason is that Krishna cannot enjoy his own ever new and ever growing madhurya, which Radha enjoys wholly. The other reason is that her love is the purest and the highest. The purer the love, the higher the rasa. It's not only Radha who enjoys higher rasa than Krishna, but all the gopis of Vraja. Krishna does not enjoy as much rasa on seeing the gopi as the gopi enjoys on seeing Krishna. The gopi's enjoyment is 1,000,000 times superior to that of Krishna. One of the most peculiar characteristics of gopi prema is that though she desires only Krishna's happiness and does not have the least desire for her own happiness, happiness comes to her in abundance. She doesn't desire, she gets. We know that happiness of any particular kind is conditioned by the desire or liking for that kind of happiness. We get satisfaction from food only when we have hunger. But the gopis neither desire their happiness nor have any liking for it. They do not desire anything except the happiness of Krishna. That is the difference between the gopis, pure spiritual beings, and us. We desire our own happiness. Therefore, it's conditional. It's impure, it's egoistic. But they don't want this. Therefore, it's called it's wholly spiritual. With us, it's to some degree, depending on your purity. Some souls are purer than the others, but the gopis have it all. For the sake of Krishna, they sacrifice everything. When Krishna's flute calls them to the forest at dead of night, they dart towards him like an arrow, ignoring the norms of society, the injunctions of the Vedas, the commands of the elders, the wild animals of the forest, and the thorns and bushes that lie on the way. They do so not for their own pleasure, but for the service and happiness of Krishna. If in the service of Krishna they feel any pleasure, which is an obstacle to service, they curse it. The reason why the gopis feel happiness, even though they do not desire it, is that their love, which by its very nature seeks the happiness of Krishna, not its own, makes them identify their happiness with the happiness of Krishna. Their happiness is not independent of the happiness of Krishna. It is dependent on it. So, if he would be unhappy, they would be unhappy also. Therefore, when Krishna decides to leave for Mathura, they cry, they try to stop him, but at the same time, they are suffering. But at the same time, they feel very happy. Because if it will make him happy, then they are happy too for him. The gopis dress beautifully and decorate themselves not for their own pleasure, but for the pleasure of Krishna. So, any lady who is here can understand the difference. If you are decorating yourself for your own pleasure, that's the difference between you and the gopi. Gopi does it only to satisfy the Krishna. So, knowing this, it can make it possible for you to understand your position, where you exactly are at the moment. Because sometimes we think you are something, but such simple thing as decorating himself can explain and show everything, how the truth is about ourselves. They desire pleasure from such activities because they please Krishna. Even their amorous activities like kissing or hugging, which appear to be full of kama, lust, outwardly, are nothing but the manifestation of prema, as a pure love, and the desire to cause happiness to Krishna. Kama, meaning lusty desire of the lower sort, cannot touch them because it is opposed to prema. Kama is darkness, prema is light. Kama is the function, vritti, of Maya Shakti. Prema is the function of Swarupa Shakti, meaning inner potency of Krishna. Maya cannot touch Swarupa Shakti, just as darkness cannot touch light. Krishna always feels in debt to the gopis on account of their single-minded and selfless devotion to him. He does not know how to clear their debt. There is nothing he can give to them in return for their love and service, because they do not desire anything except the service of Krishna. If he gives them greater opportunity for service, the debt increases instead of diminishing. Wow. Make it impossible. You cannot do anything in that position. So he's cast in the net of their love. He's just like a slave. And he is God at the same time. He has promised that he will reciprocate the bhava, meaning feeling, of the devotee. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sthathaiva bhajam yaham. This is from Gita 4:11. But he cannot fulfill his promise in the case of the gopis. If he could, he would have cleared his debt. He cannot, because he is the sole Vishaya, or the object of devotion, while the devotees are many. He must satisfy each one of the devotees. His devotion towards any gopi cannot be as single-minded as her devotion towards him. He, therefore, finds himself in a predicament. In utter helplessness, he declares himself insolvent by saying, My dearest gopis, you have for my sake cut asunder all ties of home, etc., which even the yogis find it difficult to cut, and have come to meet me. Your love for me is so pure and selfless that I find it impossible to return it. I shall always remain indebted to you. You can absolve me from the debt only by your gentleness and love for me. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-22. The declaration has been made in reference to the gopis in general, but it refers to Radha in a sense in which it does not refer to any other gopi. In case of the gopis, Krishna tries to reciprocate their love, howsoever imperfectly he can. Although he is the Vishaya of love, he assumes the role of Ashraya and tries to love and serve them in the same manner in which they love and serve him. That is, in accordance with their bhava, called Mahabhava. But in respect of Radha, he cannot do this because her Mahabhava is different from the Mahabhava of the gopis. It is Madanakya Mahabhava, which is peculiar to her alone. It can neither be reciprocated nor imitated. It is the acme of love, the highest point to which love can reach. Therefore, its rasa is also the highest. This rasa is beyond the reach of Krishna. His limitation with regard to it is twofold. First, he is Vishaya, not Ashraya. Second, he lacks of Madanakya Mahabhava. The first of these he may try to overcome by superimposing the role of Ashraya upon his basic self as Vishaya. But the second he cannot, unless he begs, borrows, or steals the Madanakya Mahabhava of Radha. Which characterizes her and no one else. But he is so infatuated by the unique rasa which Radha enjoys that there is no length to which he cannot stoop down, if he only gets an opportunity to relish it. Therefore, as Rupa Goswami says in the language of the Rasikas, inquisitive and indigenous Krishna steals it. He does not beg or borrow, because he is not so accustomed. He is accustomed to stealing. Because he is himself a rasika and a rasa. He relishes in stealing. He cannot find in begging. He started stealing small things like butter and the clothes of the gopis. When he became truly practiced in the art of stealing, he thought of stealing more valuable things. There was nothing more valuable than the bhava of Radha. He thought that the only way by which he could fulfill his three desires was by stealing the bhava of Radha, and thus becoming one with Radha, because Radha is nothing except her bhava. Radha is nothing except her feelings to him. So he stole the bhava of Radha and became one with her. Since Radha is Gaura Kanti, she is of golden luster, is a necessary adjunct of her bhava. He became Gaura, golden, from the blue. Since her bhava is the bhava of a bhakta, devotee, he became a bhakta from Bhagavan. He became Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. The Rasikas, meaning those bhaktas who love Krishna with this pure love. 5 minutes.
No problem.
Yeah, okay.
2 hours.
The Rasikas think that one more reason why Krishna stole the bhava of Radha instead of begging or borrowing it from her was that he knew Radha would not oblige him. Radha knew that his desire to enjoy her bhava was like crying for the moon. He was not competent to hold or assimilate it, and was bound to come to grief if she granted his prayer. This is borne out by the strange and unheard of sattvika bhavas in the shape of convulsions of the body from which he suffered during the last years of his life. When he was totally absorbed in enjoying the bhava of Radha, in the seclusion of Gambhira, in the Puri. His favorite resort in Puri. His joints became loose, and hands and feet sometimes lengthened, sometimes contracted and entered the body like the limbs of the turtle. This indicated that he could not assimilate or absorb in his system the bhava of Radha, and his effort to enjoy Radha's bhava, even after stealing it, came to naught. Also, if by stealing her bhava he wanted to return her love by loving her in the manner in which she loved him, he could not, and therefore remained her debtor forever. The exoteric reason, preaching Raganuga. According to Krishnadas Kaviraj, Krishna's desire to relish the highest rasa in union with Radha is the esoteric reason for the advent of Mahaprabhu. The exoteric reason is the propagation of bhakti or loving devotion to Krishna by example more than by precept, so that the souls lost in the labyrinth of cults and isms may easily find their way to the realization of the supreme goal of life. It is therefore that he appears in the form of an ideal devotee. But since he combines in his personality Krishna, the highest object of worship, and Radha, the highest devotee, both the aspects of his personality find expression. Though the devotee in him predominates, he cannot help appearing before his devotees at times as the great Lord Sri Krishna, Rama or Nishimha, according to the devotee's bhava or mode of worship. This makes his personality complex and difficult to understand. Even Advaita Acharya, the wisest of the devotees of Mahaprabhu, cannot help doubting his divinity when Mahaprabhu lays himself prostrate at the feet of the Vaishnavas and begs for their blessing. Krishna desires to relish the highest rasa because he is Rasika Sekhara, or the supreme enjoyer of rasa. He desires to propagate bhakti of the highest type because he is Parama Karuna, or the most merciful. Krishna Das Kaviraj says that the two qualities go together. Krishna is Parama Karuna because he is Rasika Sekhara. Rasika Sekhara, Krishna Parama Karuna. In the state of union with Radha, his Rasikatva, quality of being Rasika, reaches the highest limit. Therefore, in his state, he is the most merciful. When the bowl of rasa is overfilled, it overflows. The overfilling is Krishna's fullest enjoyment of rasa. The overflowing is the fullest manifestation of mercy, which consists in his gift of the highest type of bhakti called Raganuga bhakti to the finite souls. The character of Sri Chaitanya's mercy is best described in a shloka of Sri Prabodhananda Sarasvati, a contemporary of Sri Chaitanya, which says, "Oh, how wonderful is the mercy of Mahaprabhu, on account of which not only those who have neither practiced yoga, dhyana, meditation, japa, tapasya, penance, or tyaga, sacrifices, nor read the Vedas, nor pursue any spiritual discipline, or lead virtuous life, but even those who have not abstained from sinful life are freely enjoying the fruits of prema, the highest end." Sri Chaitanya Chandramrita, Mantra 5. And, very short, the second chapter begins in describing what is Vaidhi Bhakti, giving us also little information what is Raganuga. There are two stages of sadhana bhakti, meaning bhakti who can be practiced. Sadhana means a spiritual practice. Vaidhi and Raganuga. Vaidhi bhakti is injunctory and ritualistic. It consists in the observance of ritualistic rules and regulations as laid down in the Shastras. It is conditioned by the fear of transgression of the rules and is therefore more formal and mechanical than spontaneous. Sri Rupa Goswami describes Vaidhi Bhakti thus. This is important, very important. Try to hear this and internalize, and everything will become clear. So Rupa Goswami describes Vaidhi Bhakti thus. Those who do not have any raga, meaning greed or natural intense liking for bhakti, but who pursue bhakti only on account of fear of transgressing the injunctions of the Shastras, their bhakti is called vaidhi bhakti. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:2 says. So, this was about why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 528 years ago. So, this is the first chapter of very beautiful book called Sri Chaitanya and Raganuga Bhakti, written by Dr. Abi L. Kapoor, which became my very important source of knowledge for me last years. So I'm enjoying reading his works, and if my English could be understood some way, so maybe it gave you a taste to read his works. So go to the library, and then you will get so much nectar, so much. And because he was a professor at the very renowned, he was Bhakta and a professor, and he became successful in both of those worlds. He became head of a very important educational institution, and he became also a pure devotee of the Lord. So therefore, I have some inclination to read the scientific text, and his way of presenting Krishna consciousness appeals very much to me. So I'm reading his books, and I think it helps me very much. So therefore, I wanted to share with you something what helps me in my spiritual life. So thank you very much. If there is some question, so I can answer them maybe later, because maybe we can start the ceremony now. So we can do it afterwards when eating. And if somebody wants to have a closer connection to me, so I have my visit cards, and you can reach me via internet. And if not so sometimes I'm coming here also. So thank you very much. Jai Shri Radha Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Thank you very much, Sri Maharaj. So we're going to make abhishek. We want to bathe the deity. Sridhar, could you do this? We will sing the Gaura Purnima.
Very nice.
And you get the
So-
text on paper.
It's so satisfactory
And Mari, you promise to play.
to hear about truly classic
Mari,
subjects.
sorry,
Yeah.
you promise to do Okay. Look.
So,
It's our only refuge.
there is no
Jai Radha.
Fint att se dig.